Hello, everyone. Welcome to Making AI Your Own Journey in Secondary School, an immersive session on what it means to be a secondary teacher in the new AI landscape that we find ourselves in. My name is Mike Galligan, and I represent the Cognita Asia office here in Singapore.
My name is James Midgley, and I'm one of the Australia International School, also here in Singapore.
If you're one of the secondary teachers or a teacher who teaches a specialist subject that is primarily secondary, you're in the right place. This is the place to be. If you happen to be an elementary teacher, jump on over to the other AI presentation, which is being hosted by Adam Torrens and happening right now. So welcome. For those of you who know me, you know that I've been involved in developing data dashboards, and I truly believe that carefully curating and visualizing data leads to valuable conversations about student learning and strategies to address that learning. I believe in the power of leveraging different modes of knowledge transfer to better serve the learners in our care. Through my journey, one of the things I've discovered in data visualization is that it depends a lot on the degree of integration, synchronization, and automation that you can build into the process. Maintenance and sustainability are also major themes when we think about it in terms of how it is to be operationalized. While I don't have all the answers now, my journey points me towards artificial intelligence as I seek out solutions to create bespoke data dashboards that are not only useful and impactful, but also sustainable and rich in the types of information that they visualize. The point I want to make is that as you continue down your exploration and experiences with AI, make the journey your own. Spend some time thinking about what you personally hope to obtain from the usage of AI in your weekly practice as an educator. There's a danger of feeling overwhelmed with all the messages right now out there about AI, and I believe this is a way to manage yourself as you approach AI. Just a few things that AI can help you with include lesson plans based on a set of learning goals, organizing personalized student portfolios, real-time formative assessment, summative assessments, automatic grading and report writing, standards-based alignment of lessons, assessments, and comments, and parent communications, just to name a few. Now, after all, intentionally pursuing your own journey is what differentiates us from AI. We are deliberate and intentional in our aspirations, and based on our personal experiences, we choose which path to take. Instead of mimicking what has been created before, we seek to create something new from our own imaginations. Your own personal needs, because of the implied promise of AI, now have the opportunity to be supercharged and amplified in ways not possible before. AI can add value to your intelligence, your personality, and your teaching style. I imagine that some participants that we have here today come with a range of talents and aspirations. Some of you excel at curriculum design, while others of you are good at tailoring lessons to different learning styles of learners. Some of you wish you could do more on-the-fly formative assessments in the class, while others are still working on consolidating evidence so that its reporting and comment writing time runs a little bit smoother. Imagine how you can now amplify your personal areas of growth as well as shore up the areas of practice needing improvement. Considering how AI can do that ultimately benefits our learners. So for today, we have a few things that we would like to do with you. And so we've got a first section here that will give a nice overview of what's happened with AI in the past year. James is going to lead that. And he'll also talk a little bit about where we are now in our AI journey and try to, personalize that to you. How secondary teachers can leverage AI, how to write good prompts for generative AI, and then we'll go into a guided exploration of 9 AI tools that you'll choose from. Then, after that guided time that you do on your own with your facilitator in the room, we'll come back together and we'll do a Q&A session followed by some additional concerns about AI and ethical considerations, what's next for us, and then finally, as a wrap-up, an introduction to the Cognita AI framework.
Thank you for having me. James Midgley, very nice to meet you all. This presentation will include prompts about how to make this AI journey your own personal journey as you go through artificial intelligence exploration. I appreciate that there are many people that may be concerned. How can AI assist me rather than replace me? Will AI save or destroy the current education system? As an educator, am I doing all that I can with artificial intelligence to support the students who are in my care? Speaking with teachers at my school, the comments you can see on the screen were clear and consistent throughout all of our teachers. So where are we now with our IA journey? We will collect at the live session the Menti reports here, but for now let's have a look about how other places have looked about how we can use artificial intelligence in our educational journey. I'll edit that, it's okay. How can AI help education? The common themes we can see on the screen before us. Instant feedback, instant learning, formative assessment on the fly as you are teaching your lesson. It's a very rare teacher who can stand at the front and differentiate for 20 to 25 students that are in front of them individually without causing any fear of shame from the students about putting their hand up and asking the question. So one of the main driving forces for artificial intelligence in classrooms, I would advocate and agree with Stanford, is that the equity that it actually precipitates is a massive bonus for us as educators. There are hiding places in every classroom. We are all aware of this. It's about uncovering those hiding places and giving students the advocacy to actually access the information which they need. Those barriers are demolished, the barriers come down, the inequity will dissolve as students get more and more familiar with using AI. But for that to happen, us as teachers need to be able to use it with confidence and at the right place at the right time. Using for assessment and feedback, you introduce a concept in music or in English or in maths. The student may well already be popping that concept into Google or Bard and having a look and see what happens. I know at AIS, many of our students have paid for the GPT-4 and they're already putting our concept into there and looking at paraphrasing that using Quillbot. You may well have come across this one as well. So we've got instant feedback, we've got better quality feedback, and it's tailored to the individual. That personalization aspect is a huge boon for us as we're looking at our artificial intelligence benefits to us as educators. The support that we get, you can even train your new teachers with artificial intelligence. Ask it to be a new student who is unconfident about the concept that you are teaching, and it will guide them through and give them feedback on how they are doing. What do AIS staff think at this moment in time? Do they see it as a force for good? Most of them see it as a good thing to have in the classroom. Do we use it in our lessons? Less than half weekly, a quarter never, and a quarter monthly. So certainly uptake, maybe like your school, has been in little fires around the school of people really enthusiastic about it, and other people looking and thinking, that's great, I'm not sure what to do. And hopefully in this session, we'll explore that more so you feel more confident going forward in your pedagogy. What are we using AI for? Benchmark testing, understanding EAL, our EAL department, PCS course, they are massive users of artificial intelligence. Why? Because we can put a section of prose into there. We can differentiate it immediately depending on the age group or the age range that they're actually achieving at, into dozens of different languages instantly at real time. Analyzing data, ChatGPT to analyze Excel sheets, parent-teacher communications. Rephrase this as a professional teacher, rephrase this as a parent. You can do that within ChatGPT. Research, absolutely, and test generation. Now, 23% said others. I wish I'd have delineated that better and found out what the others actually were. Maybe that's for a future session. When is it most useful to me? Well, somebody was time poor. Background, phrase comments in a polite manner. Maybe you're rushed, maybe you're between 10 other things. We all have those busy days and you need to put a polite email in, but that polite gene is not quite kicking in. AI will do that for you. Research, adapting lessons. You've done a lesson previously, put the feedback in that you got when you reflected on how well that lesson went and use AI to help you and guide you, make it better for next time. See where students are in HSC biology. Not applicable. Clearly one of those people that don't use it. I can't think and need a framework. Now, this is a common thing. I think teachers want to use AI and leverage it for the best outcomes for their students. But certainly this is the beginning of a journey on our exploration to make that happen. The elephant in the room, there are a few which we'll address today. One is clearly students can use this to plagiarize, to check. You can check on their plagiarism or not. Generating ideas which you would not have normally yourself. I need to correct, improve text, paraphrase for PCS EAL. It's useful to me when it really isn't. Hopefully I can convince a few brains that are of that thinking it really isn't. It really is. Have to be wary of it. Critical thinking is one of the great things that AI teaches us, and eventually becomes better. Is the people are worried. Is it going to get better than I am at what I actually do? And there's that another elephant in the room, the fear factor at the back of our heads. Will it replace me? It does reduce workload, can quickly alter my current lessons if I'm trying to wordsmith something, generating problems, rephrasing sentences. I can show the kids how I use it in a meaningful way instead of just asking it for answers.
So it seems like, James, like people really do care about this and that they're interested in integrating AI into their teaching. They want it for practical purposes. They want it for idea generating, things like that.
I think absolutely. I think we have moved on from the hyperbolic beginning, and now people are seeing it's actually used advantageously during lessons. It can be for marking, it can be for writing reports, it can be for doing responses to emails, and people that integration, we're just beginning on the beginning of a wonderful journey, I would advocate. Yes, and that was a common thread from teachers. But the concerns are there. Plagiarism, clearly number one at the top. That's not a fluke. Yeah. Students use it just like Google and fail to think first. And that's a question for us as teachers. How is it different to Google? What better information? How is it an improvement on asking a question in Google to have all these pieces of information given to us, which is way beyond? Students use it as a force of evil. They will simply copy or rely on the AI, what the AI tells them. We have ways to find that. Turnitin is actually very good. Their latest checker is excellent. Why rote learn anything? I love this comment. Why rote learn anything, especially given the ridiculous level of rote learning required by some syllabi? When will education catch up? And one of the complaints is teachers will say that I have a homework which is done, the kids obviously done it using artificial intelligence. But a lovely article I read said that if you only give a utilitarian homework, you will only ever get a utilitarian response. Maybe we think about the design of our homeworks in the first place. People may just defer to AI for work because it's easy. It is easy, but we'll see. You can see when it has been done as well. Students might just copy. Quillbot is used widely. Thank you, whoever made this comment. I researched Quillbot and it's excellent. We'll be having a look at that today. So the common threads that come through are plagiarism, cheating, just using it in the same way as Google, so what's the point? And does it shortcut us teaching students skills of research and critical thinking, which AI seems at first interrogation to be removing from students, which is not what we are trying to do. Copy and paste. I've not kept up with embedding it. Again, this is a theme which Mike just mentioned. Teachers do want to know more. They want to have the time to explore it and beyond thinking of it as the boogie in the room that's going to be cheating and plagiarized.
I think a common thread I'm seeing here is that teachers are curious about how to rethink their teaching practice to really use AI in the learning process, I think is what I'm gathering from that. And the person who commented about rote learning is right? We need to move away from that. We need to, develop ways to use AI in everyday things. So there'll be a lot of things coming through on that, and we'll talk about that a little bit today.
Absolutely. And one of the comments earlier, this is a light bulb moment. This is the advent of the printing press. This is the advent of the internet. This is a massive shift in how we do things. One surprise for me was asking teachers, has it increased my workload? No. But 22% yes, particularly essay-based subjects, because the temptation for students is to cheat and just copy and paste. We agree it is valuable for educators. That's great. A bit less valuable for learners. I would like to know more. Everybody wants to know more. Brilliant. And any comments? How do I check? No. I've just started dabbling, so good. You've been paddling at the edge of the water. Let's get you into the pond today. I'm conflicted about benefits and risks. Yep, more PD, please. Absolutely. Used in data analysis. These are the higher level stuff. We've got some prompts for you today so you can look at data analysis. Like to learn how to use it to improve my teaching. That's what teaching is, improving every day. Most effectively. So everybody seems to want to do it. There's no escaping it. It's a great tool when used wisely. I couldn't echo those comments any more loudly. Building large bodies of text, getting away from the stigma, which is around AI, saying it as lazy or copying. It can be lazy or copying, but lazy and copying always existed. AI has not changed that, and it's not set out to change that student who will do that. And thankfully, it is the minority of cases, in my experience, who are actually using it for that purpose. It will be great to know how to use it in my teaching. Brilliant. What a common thread. What a great way to finish this section of the presentation. We all want to know a lot more about what this can actually offer to us as educators. Okay. Eton College called Caitlin's Cookbook. We will share this as part of this presentation. And this is what they've given the highly achieving kids at Eton College about how to build their prompts, what to use it in conversation, how to make stories, recipes for prompts. It really is a cookbook of making artificial intelligence useful for students in all the subjects, from history to chemistry, to leverage their learning to the maximum advantage to make them the best versions of themselves as they journey through their school. They're not the only school doing that, but I think that's an excellent example of what is possible. So what is the difference between AI and a human brain? I mean, understanding is better than knowing, of course. The risks of AI to humanity are well described in the media today, and much of it is used as props in science fiction writing. I'm sure you can all speak of many more than I possibly could. So let's address the first elephant in the room today, and that is the strong suspicion that AI will cause more harm than good. And here in the Scientific American, AI causes real harm. This is a very well-respected journal. Let's focus on that over the end of humanity hype. And at the end of this article, there is a beautiful conclusion saying that the harms caused by delegating authority to automated systems, Elon Musk comes to mind, will include the unregulated accumulation of data and computing power. The large language model of AI is built on the whole corpus of information which is available on the internet up until 2021. So it does stop there. It's not on the internet yet. It's searching what's already there. But none of that was gained with permission, and that's one of the problems. The artists in particular are not happy that the permission was not taken for them to take this information and then regurgitate that in things like Midjourney or other image creators. The climate costs of model training and damage to the welfare state. You will see in future slides that there is bias in there, and that goes back to the earlier comment about critical thinking. AI does not remove the onus on us to teach critical thinking. In fact, increases the burden on us to talk about critical thinking with our students. Intensification of policing, and it is influencing policy more than we actually are aware of right now. Is it going to be apocalyptic? Actually, the existential danger is inherent. The apocalyptic one, we hope, is not. We're not quite yet at a Terminator stage in our discussions.
When you mentioned the the large language model idea and how it has kind of gleaned all of these examples and imagery and so forth from the internet, it makes me think about, this is going a little bit off base here, but it makes me think a little bit about what path will this cause in humankind's creative journey, right? Because so will what has been created up till now become the basis of everything going forward, or does it actually amplify the diversity of creativity?
It's an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I think that there is almost a finite which we can achieve with GPT 3.5, and certainly 4. Will that be AGI? That's not a purpose of today. But because it's based on the things that exist, and it's actually based predominantly on American websites and Western websites. And we'll see later there's quite a bit of bias which is in there, which is evident in the searches and the responses which students will get. We need to be aware of that as teachers. As it gets bigger and it becomes more on the internet, in the meta world, then it will become much more AGI, artificial general intelligence. And then maybe we start to listen to Elon Musk a little bit more. iRobot, Isaac Asimov, he thought there were 3 laws. A robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. That's reassuring. A robot must obey the orders given it by human beings, except where such orders could inflict the first law. Good, I like that, that's circularity. And it must protect its own existence as long as it doesn't involve determination of our existence. Hopefully you all feel much more reassured by that slide. So how good is it? Well, it's pretty darn good. And this is GPT 3.5, this is the freely available one, there's the average human, and then GPT-4, the one that you have to pay, I think it's $50 a month or somewhere around there for this one. Maximum scores, so we'll look at the bar exam, average human 140, GPT 3.5, 213. So the lawyers and the solicitors of this world that are looking at the corpus of literature and synthesizing, curating documents for defenses and for advocating for purchases, then they're absolutely being replaced totally by these people. And a number of people you will find on YouTube saying, I got this from my lawyer, I got this from GPT-3. GPT-3 won, it was better. Food for thought. Past the LSAT, some of our students sit these, and you can read the rest. Clearly, it's highly effective within what it can achieve. Knowing what it can achieve, and perhaps knowing the context of what it can't, means that we can advocate for its effective use in our classrooms. So what's in it for me? I can be a practice student for new teachers, mentioned earlier. Post-teaching and during teaching feedback, real-time feedback using formative AI. The teacher just explained to me the concept of chemical equilibria and disturbing the equilibrium using temperature. What will happen if an exothermic or endothermic reaction? The teacher just explained it. I did not have a clue how he explained it. I didn't understand that. However, I can ask for that in Chinese immediately in my classroom from the AI, and it will give me 2 or 3 different ways, and even more if I regenerate on how to understand that concept. Student puts the hand up, I'm working on this here, can you help me when I get stuck? It's a new model, it's a new way of working, it's a new way of learning, and a new way of teaching.
So as James continues here, I just want to remind us all what we're thinking about, and I mean, because he's presenting a lot of like different ways that we can access AI and think about AI, right? So going back to my my initial kind of theme for this presentation, as he's going along, think about how 1 or 2 things resonate with you that you can use, that you can use to make your personal journey. So what about what we're talking about today can work for you?
I think that's a good point, Mike. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, my response will be, top of my list is real-time feedback, real-time authentic differentiation. That holy grail of tailored individually to every learner in my classroom is right here, right now, if we use AI effectively. So let's put AI in its place. I was quite surprised by this chart, Mike. I don't know about you, but I thought ChatGPT was the fastest charting, fastest growing app that had ever existed. And then I checked, and apparently, if you are my age, you will not know what Threads is. Do you know what Threads is, Mike?
Nope.
No, nor I. Apparently it's an Instagram thing. Ask the children, they know what Threads is. That took 1 hour to get 1 million users. Just like, wow. ChatGPT, 5 days. Okay, I think it gets over 1 billion hits a day at the moment. Welcome to the show. A lot of what you hear when you speak with people who use AI, I'm a user, I would not claim to be an expert. Okay, I use it daily. It's all about the prompts that we put in, and the notion of being a prompt engineer did not exist last year. AI has been with us since November 22 last year. But when I went on LinkedIn yesterday, I found that there are 159 jobs for prompt engineers in Singapore. This is a real job that pays real money, not Bitcoin, into your bank account to actually generate a great prompt. And we are not born knowing how to make a great prompt. AI is marketed as this easy thing, will answer all my essays and answer all my homeworks. But it will not do any of that unless you know how to make a great prompt. All of what you will be doing in your classroom, you put garbage in, you get garbage out, as the old saying goes. So this will be linked into the files. You may well have seen this already. It gives you common prompts that you can use in your classroom, how you can use it for differentiation, for formative assessments, to generate quizzes, to give help to students who are struggling to understand a particular concept, explicit and implicit teaching strategies using ChatGPT, and it gives, and ChatGPT still is the basis, the LLM, the large language model, upon which many of the explorations we'll give you today are built. So they're all using ChatGPT in the background to actually synthesize things, whether it's Magic School or Quillbot, they're all rooted in ChatGPT. The art of making a good prompt we'll look at briefly here. However, this is probably another whole 1 hour session, Mike, I would advocate, and we can't really go into a great deal. I think you need to do some homework and look at that in your own time.
Later in the session, at the very end, I'll also introduce you to a Cognita-produced prompt model.
Okay.
When I share that later.
Great, thank you. I mean, one of the things I do with the students is, here is an image of a Roman warrior which looks like there are flowers around them. How would you prompt the Midjourney, which is on Discord? If you understood what I just said, then you're doing very, very well. Midjourney is an AI tool. What would you put into Midjourney to produce that image there? Maybe a little thought experiment for you as I go to the next slide. The prompt for this was a beautiful watercolor painting of famous structures. I can see St. Paul's Cathedral. I can see, what can you see, Mike? Can you see there's a temple?
Is that the Blue Mosque?
Could be the Blue Mosque, could be Turkey.
Yeah.
There's a big bus in the way, which is, anyway. Yeah. Buildings and people on the street, and there are buildings and people on the street, 16K, Ultra HD, and Midjourney will do that for you. We're such a level now, an app called Nightshade came out yesterday, which artists are really upset about AI because it's, as part of that scouring the internet to build a large language model, no permission was asked from any of the authors that they could use that. So now this Nightshade app, if you create a piece of artwork, you can use Nightshade to put code into your artwork, which means if AI takes it, it will destroy the artwork. That's the level of depth of analysis which is going on right now. Welcome back. This is the part of the presentation where you get the opportunity to play in the sandbox. So let's go back to our school days and let's have a think about what we're going to use AI for in our classrooms. We are keenly aware that there are a number of people in here, probably way more experienced than Mike and I. If you are one of these people, I'm hoping there is something in this list on the left-hand side of the screen that you have not yet had a chance to explore. Well, now is your opportunity. Have you used Diffit or Perplexity or Essay Grader or Flicky or Canva? Great. If you haven't, I would suggest, if you've not begun your journey just yet, begin with ChatGPT. That underlies the other ones, as I've mentioned earlier in this presentation. If you are familiar with using chatbots or ChatGPT itself, then I'm going to give you a quick tour of what is possible with some of these applications, which are all freely available on the internet. You will find your facilitator will have shared with you a number of support documents. So these support documents will all look pretty similar. For each of the AI interfaces, let's go with Magic School. That's one of my current favorites. You might like to have a look at this one yourself. Why do I like Magic School? Well, it's fantastic at all administration tasks, and it does just about everything you could ask to do in terms of running a school and delivering lessons. So each sheet will have a link straight to the app. You will need to log on with, I suggest, your school email. In here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there are 65 different tasks you can do within Magic School. This would be a whole day's session in itself. If you're happy with AI already, have a look at this. You also get Rainer, the chatbot. The chatbot, this is the ChatGPT aspect to Magic School, which if you're familiar with ChatGPT, this will be intuitive to you. So let's have a look at some of the tools which are in here. We've got rubric generators, lesson plan generator, math story word problems. I'm going to scroll down to one of my favorites, which is the YouTube video summarizer. And we also have somewhere in here a YouTube question generator. So what you can do using the support document is you can go and grab a YouTube URL. Just a note of caution, you must have the closed captions or the subtitles running on the YouTube video before you post the URL into Magic School. It will then generate multiple choice quiz for you. If you are unhappy with that, you can ask Rainer, your AI chatbot, to help you to extend, to understand, or to differentiate the questions generated from a YouTube video. So here is what you will see, the YouTube question generator. Once you have done this, for each of the applications we are suggesting you have a play with, there is a Microsoft form for each one of the interfaces we are encouraging you to have a play with during this session. It's a really quick form and each is specific to each of the applications. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions, then submit. We'll be very grateful if you include this at the end of your session, and we will have a look as a group at the end of this presentation about what people thought of the different interfaces. So as I said, each one has a link to the AI. There is a video of support if you want to have a look at that on YouTube, screenshots of what you should see, and then a task for you to do. For instance, here on Flicky, select new file, choose your own title. You can choose the music if you want to have some music playing, and you can even narrate your video using an AI voice. I think there are about 100 different voices you can choose to narrate your video. If you're an Instagram person, your feed will never be the same again. You can use stock videos, your own videos, and it all comes back to, as earlier mentioned, using a wonderful prompt. So Flicky for video creation. We've also got people that want to grade essays. That seems to be a big ask from many of the teachers that I work with. So if you're in essay subjects, English, business, TOK, psychology, this is essaygrader.ai. Hit the link. Here I've pasted in a TOK essay. I'm a TOK teacher as well. And you can create your class. You can put it in the rubric. I just took the IB rubric and put it into Essay Grader, and it comes out with a report at the end. Here's a small section of the report. Tell me this was a grade 4. I think I marked it about a 5 out of 10. And this is pretty accurate in terms of what needs improving. It will talk about the grammar, it will talk about the structure, and it will give you some beautiful inspiration for your feedback to the students. Of course, students can use this as well. And what a powerful tool for students to use in your classroom right now. If they're not sure if they're on the right path or the right track with their essay, they can put it into Essay Grader and get instantaneous feedback. No matter how many students are in your class, they can all do that. A new one, which was introduced by a colleague of mine, this is Diffit. And this differentiates really quickly and free, which is a big bonus, I think. You can put any topic into here, or video, or article, or text, and then you can differentiate it for different grade levels and crucially for different languages. So if your year 12 physics class is struggling with special relativity, ask it to explain it to a 10th grader. Ask it to explain it to an 11th grader. Then share that with the student. Or the students can obviously do all this themselves. It will do literally anything from kindergarten all the way up to college level. I asked it here for meiosis, mitosis. And here it's given me the key words and the summary. And the beautiful thing about this one is this button here, export and share. So the information it generates, you can export straight to your Google Classroom. It will create Google Forms, Google Quizzes, Google Sheets. It will create worksheets. It will create presentations. Just after you put in one key conceptual term, you've already got a plethora of activities that you can use with your class. If that excites you, have a look at this one here, which is DIFIT, one of my new hot tips at this moment in time. Curipod or Curipod, I'm not sure of the pronunciation on this one. English language, arts, maths, science. It's great for doing start activities, plenary activities, prompts. This exit ticket with AI feedback. You can create a series of questions for the end of your lesson. The kids click onto it. The AI chatbot, which is basically ChatGPT, will then clarify and ask questions for them as they're working with this. If that excites you, you think that's something you want to explore, that's Curipod or Curipod, depending on where you are from. So there are 8 interactions, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 interactions, which you can play with right now.
So now that I don't think we touched on all 9 of them, but we touched on many of them, and you get the idea. All of them kind of have the same format. He's given right at the top what these are great for, a video link to help you kind of dive into it a little bit, links to the actual tool, obviously. The thing to keep in mind right now is we're going to turn you loose within your room where you are. So you have a facilitator in your room, and that's your point person, okay? So they're going to organize you. I've recommended that they organize you into small groups of maybe 4 or 5 people, and people who all want to look at the same tools. You can kind of compare and talk about the tool you're looking at together. Ideally, it would be great if you could do a couple of rotations in the next 30 to 35 minutes of this. If it doesn't work out quite like that, that's fine. Let your facilitator lead that process. Obviously, your context of your school will all be a little bit different. Your facilitator will have, in advance, set up access to these support documents for you in a way that works for your school, okay? So there will be some sort of feedback, like James mentioned, a survey at the end, or some sort of thing like product that you will finish with in the rotation. Okay, so listen to your facilitators now and enjoy these 9 tools. Hopefully you can take a look at a couple of those, and we will see you in about 35 minutes. So at this moment, facilitators, if you would like, you may pause the video and then restart it again when you're done with your exploration.
Thank you very much.
Okay, everyone, we will begin again in a few seconds, so if you can wrap up your group discussions that you're doing right now. We will begin in 10 or 15 seconds. Please wrap up your conversations and we'll begin soon.
And thank you so much for filling in the feedback on the Microsoft form.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. If you could please turn your attention back to us. We'll do just a little bit of a few wrap-up items that I think you'll find valuable. Now, facilitators, if you would like to do a Q&A session right now with your group, you may do that. You may pause this video right now if you want to and spend a few minutes getting some feedback from some of the groups and work that has been done there at your school. Feel free to do that.
I think it might be valuable to go through some of the feedback forms that's on there, perhaps what was good, what didn't work so well. Hopefully there have been some successes in your explorations. Okay, one of the fun things I enjoy doing is I do have a little YouTube channel, Mr. M for Chem, and on here I showed how you can defeat GPT, ChatGPT, because students are doing this, so it's important we are aware of this. So you can use a prompt, let's call it a homework you've assigned, put it into ChatGPT, it will produce the essay or whatever you've asked them to make. You can then regenerate that in a separate AI tool. You could use Quillbot. Quillbot is very popular with the students. You may have had a chance to have a look at that in the previous activities. That will then paraphrase, rephrase, regurgitate in a new format from the originally generated artificial intelligence from GPT. And then when I put that into GPT-0, which is a popular checker to see if students have used artificial intelligence, it came back as 100% from a human origination. Hello, can GPT-0 detect AI text? Here's a prompt from a TOK essay into Perplexity. Perplexity, regenerate that response, extended response, into PT, ChatGPT, as we all know and love. Here it goes, doing its ChatGPT thing. Once it has regenerated that text, we're going to pop that into GPT-0 and see what it thinks of this text. Is it copied? Written by a human? So we defeated the ChatGPT checker. I was actually contacted by the GPT-0 people if they could use my video on their site, and that's where it sits right now. So we are in a uniquely creative time with uniquely creative students. How do we best harness this double-edged sword of what is artificial intelligence? Clearly there are concerns as leaders and as teachers. To what extent am I still needed? Do I still need to be the sage on the stage at the front of the classroom or the laboratory or the art studio? Or can that be generated by their laptop, which is in front of them? In essence, do we need to learn anything if everything is held onto the laptop or on the large language model? We know it finishes in 2021, but the next update will be on the internet as well when we get AGI. Do we need to radically change our education models? I would advocate a huge, resounding yes. If you make something for kids to do, which is easily what was Googleable, if that is a word, and now is solvable by AI, then we need to reflect about how we are setting that homework. Do we ask the AI to do the homework and ask the students to mark it against their rubric, which I know our English department are using it for just that method.
And also, James, I think, just playing off this a little bit more, I think if, for a teacher who's looking at this and listening and trying to answer these questions in their head, I would say, keep in mind, as teachers and leaders in education, this is our job. We learn new things. We always are adapting and changing to whatever the landscape is, and there have been times, other movements in education before where we've had to, learn and change and adapt with the times and so forth. So you could see this as just another one of those things, and we know how we accomplish this. We share ideas, we go to webinars, we attend sessions, we collaborate, lots of we've seen amazing collaboration at schools over the years. So this is what we do, and we'll move through it together, I think.
I think so. I mean, it is new, but at the same time, as Mike says, it's nothing new, really. It's just that exponential rate at which we can garner things, synthesize things, and curate. And I think this is a massive opportunity, in my personal opinion, to curate just fantastic strategies so the kids in our class will learn so much more effectively and come out better formed versions of themselves at the end of that exploration. Does it beg the question of what should we be teaching? Yes, earlier we said about utilitarian models breeding utilitarian responses. That was true before AI came along. It's even more true now. AI has put that under the lens. It is sobering to note that AI, despite its wonders and vastness of opportunities it brings us, is still quite riddled with bias, and a stereotypical of the world view is what is often encountered. This article here is showing us what happens when you put a typical prompt into a art generating piece of AI. It may be mid-journey, I'm not sure. If we put an Indian person in, this is what we get: an old man with a beard wearing a turban. If we put a Mexican person in, as you can see, they're all wearing a sombrero. If you've been to Mexico, you know that is not the case. When asked to produce New Delhi's streets, they're all covered in litter, in trash, and pollution is in every image. Indonesia, everything is served on banana leaves. Some is, as we know, some isn't. So the bias that is implicit in the answers which are given from a given prompt are really quite staggering. This was a study based on 5,100 images, and what the researchers did, they put in predicted skin colours for particular roles, particular jobs which are available. We can see that the lighter skin tones tend to be architects, and the darker skin tones tend to be social workers. That tells us more about the data that it's looking at than an actual real results clearly in the real world. Who is the most high paid occupation? Well, architects. Least well paid, housekeepers. Housekeepers tend to be females. Architects tend to be males. It annoys me as well. High paying occupations. We can see which skin tones have which particular high paying occupations from artificial intelligence. So the bias which is implicit within here is something we need to teach our students to be aware of, and that necessity to teach critical thinking is perhaps more important than ever now that students are using their artificial intelligence to help them on their journey through our education system. So yes, it is brilliant. Yes, it is wonderful. Yes, boundless possibilities. So what's next? 5th of December, it's looking like full AGI is going to be released, ChatGPT-5. No one knows how much that is yet. On looking today, it's still not released. Khan Academy, which has been going for, I think, decades now, Khan Academy, and they are using chatbots within all of their videos now, so students can interact with the video live with a chatbot. What a fantastic boon for education. We've given you lots of information on prompting, on apps that you can perhaps use to leverage for maximum advantage in your teaching. There is some further reading here from Hattie, the one that we're all aware of. It's the same Hattie. And I think it's nice to end this little section with a quote. I don't think AI will try to destroy all of humanity, but it might put us under strict control, Musk said. Yes, Elon Musk. And there is a non-zero chance of AI going full Terminator, Mike.
All right, thank you, James. Those are some amazing considerations and thoughts, I think, as we look forward to AI. You will see that your facilitator has made some of these resources available in the folders that they set up for your school context. So do take a look at some of those. A couple of them have some links to some additional resources, so do check those out. Now, one thing I want to wrap up this afternoon with is a little introduction to the Cognita AI framework, which has been just recently launched by Cognita, and you'll find this as a link in one of the resources that your facilitator has made available to you. Now, the way this came about was we gathered a group of about 8 of us from across the globe, really, that go to Cognita schools. So we had a couple of representatives from South America, a couple from Europe, the Middle East, and from Asia here. We got together for a week and talked just about AI. And so what we have come up with is a AI framework and a set of tools that we think will help you as teachers. So this is the website right here. Like I said, it's one of the links in your resources. And we start with a nice statement about how Cognita sees AI for our schools. Please take a look at that. And here on the left-hand side, just continuing, there's some nice resources here under the Getting Started section. I encourage you, especially, we have these organized under Getting Started, Getting Informed, and Going Beyond. I encourage you at the very least to take a look at these first 2 videos here about what generative AI is and embracing it in the classroom. Please do take a look at those. There's also a set of very useful and kind of high-end resources that you'll find in the resource page here, and also a frequently asked questions area. Now, the framework itself, from a teacher's perspective, we have organized under 6 areas. So both from a teaching lens, which is the top 3 here, and from a student perspective. So, and each of them is organized under before teaching, during teaching, and after teaching. And you could look at these as, this is the type of thing I'm doing. And for example, let's say I want to do some before teaching planning. What are some of the themes under there? We've identified 3 key themes, different ones for each of the 6. Let's say I'm looking at question generation. I can go in there, and it proposes a basic framework that you can write to you can use to write good quality prompts. Now, you'll find lots of other ways of writing prompts. This is just one of them that we've adopted, and it's called the PREP model. So state your aim, assign a role, give explicit instructions, and set clear parameters. So under each of these, it gives you 3 like real life examples that you might encounter. This one here is time tackling tasks, multi-step word problems in year 4 math. So all the different examples we have in there are like that. They're real examples. If it's a prompt that is actually pretty close to what you want to do, you can copy it and make adjustments to it just as starters. So we give you 3 options under each one typically. And then towards the bottom, very importantly, we give you advice on how to edit and improve your prompt so that you get it to assist you in exactly the way you want to do. So this goes back to some of my original comments about being very intentional and deliberate about using AI for what you want to get out of it. Again, this is a personal journey for you. Use it in ways that have significant meaning for you, and that will impact your teaching and learning in meaningful ways for you. So that's it for this afternoon. We thank you very much for your time. We've given you lots of things to think about. We've given you a few tools to try out. Hopefully you found this helpful. I don't know, James, did you find this helpful? How do you feel about AI and your role as a teacher?
I think I'm very grateful to have a few signposts on the roadmap about what we can do. I certainly use it more and more frequently. More like anything, the more you use it, the better you become. Thank you very much for listening. Any last questions from you, Mike?
Nope, that's it for me. Thanks, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.